guys, welcome back to Strong Successful Male. So for today, I'm going to go a very entertaining email that was sent from a subscriber. This is my guy, sounds like he's probably in his mid-30s or so. He's a medical professional, not an MD, but he is a doctor. And he shares his story that happened not too long ago, how he met the one and only Dr. Nicole. He met Dr. Nicole on Bumble and truly thought from the get-go that she is girlfriend material, an actual relationship he could have. But then lo and behold, he finds out that guess what? You can't turn a you-know-what into a housewife. As upon dating Dr. Nicole finds out that she openly admitted that she was going through a HOE phase, amongst many other things. And learns real quick, not just you can't turn a HO into a housewife, but also all about the hot crazy scale and all that type of thing. That'll be a very good one to go over here, guys, as a reminder. An entertaining story, but a reminder why you don't turn crazy into girlfriends. The second they start giving off red flags, break up with them. It is not worth all the turmoil and drama that you're going to go through. And let me tell you, what this guy goes through is outright crazy and hilarious. He definitely has a story for the grandsons one day. So remember these things about red flags and all that as I go through the story. He says, "Dear SSM, I've got an extra crazy story for you about a really crazy gal, and honestly, some crazy things I did too." Well, bro, we love crazy over here. I'm going to go by the codename Patrick, and I'm going to give the girl the codename Nicole. I'm very active on Bumble, and I pull a lot of gals off Bumble. I think I've slept with 5 girls off Bumble in 2024. Okay, Casanova. Honestly, the feature where the girl has to message first is phenomenal because only girls who are interested in you message you. At the same time, it is a numbers game. I probably only go out with 2 out of every 10 gals I match up with, and I probably only hook up with 1 of these 2. So 1 out of 10 you hook up with. That's actually pretty darn good odds compared to a lot of guys. Anyway, one such girl I matched with, let's call her Nicole. She's a doctor in the emergency room. A medical professional. We all know how these stories usually go. Technically, she's a physician resident doing EM-IM, but basically that means she's an ER/ICU doctor. I'm a clinical pharmacist and adjunct professor at a local medical school. I'm technically a doctor, but not an MD. Anyway, I was pretty happy when I matched with her on Bumble. I've been meeting a lot of dumb bimbos, and while that's fun, I do want to get into a relationship at some point. I'm sure I'm going to get a smack for that. Yeah, why not? Smack! Look, if you're a relationship guy, you're a relationship guy. I honestly have no problem with that. I just say that, be well aware of reality, the reality that is today, and have all the knowledge that you can gain from all these stories in this channel to help prepare you and protect you in these situations. But I'm definitely going to smack you if you're going to get in a relationship with the wrong woman. This is why you need to use the principles I talk about, spending a long time to get to know her before you even consider being exclusive. Because anybody can put on an act for a long time. And the rest of the things you all know well aware about. Anyway, when I matched with her, she messaged me immediately telling me she wanted to hang out. We talked a bit about medicine and I got her number. The next day, I thought we were going to hang out or something, and she stopped answering my messages. Red flag. So she immediately reaches out to you, starts showing great enthusiasm. That's always nice. And then, whoosh, stops answering messages. Well, I don't think she was doing a long shift at the hospital and then sleeping it off. I think something else is up. I thought this was weird, but I was busy with my own work, so I kind of forgot about it. I texted her a few more times over the next week, and she eventually answered me. Well, you're going too far. You said she's ignoring you, and you keep texting her and texting her and texting her. I mean, that immediately shows her, number one, that'll communicate to her you're a little desperate, which is never a good place to be. You're more into her than she is into you, which is never a good place to be, amongst many other things. If she doesn't respond, she doesn't respond. She's probably fucking testing you to see if you're going to bombard her with texts and calls and all that shit. Normally, I would have not texted a girl more than once, but I really thought she was girlfriend material just based on the information at the outset. So in other words, you treated her different. Compared to the other girls that were bimbos, so you would never repeatedly text and chase after her because this girl's girlfriend material, you stop being who you are. That's a problem guys do. You got to be the same around whether the gal's 500 pounds and you have no interest in her, or she's a smoking hot 9. You got to be the same, as difficult as that may be. Keep it under control, gentlemen. She ended up hitting me up and telling me she really wanted to hang out and gave me a bunch of days that she was available. She apologized for not answering me before. Bullshit. How hard is it to respond to a text? She did it on purpose. I'm telling you, I'm convinced of this. Guys, women will deliberately not respond to your messages to see what you're going to do. Are you going to freak out and panic and bombard them with texts? That's going to tell them a lot. I was like, okay, cool. So we picked a day and I told her that I would pick her up. My plan was to take her to a few fun things and try to move things back to her place. Smack! Take her to do a few fun things. If you've been watching my channel, you know, one drink. I don't care if you exchanged a few messages and everything. Meet her for one drink. See how it goes. Because already she's thinking, well, I ignored him. He kept bombarding me with text. I took my sweet ass time to get back to him. And now he's offering to take me to do this and this and this and this. One drink. I got no problem with you trying to escalate things to go back to her place, but just one drink. The part of the plan worked pretty well. I took her to a museum, then I took her to dinner, then she was talking about smoking weed, and I asked if we could go back to her place to smoke weed, and she enthusiastically agreed. As soon as we got back to her house, she told me she wanted to have sex. Hey, well, you got laid. I'm kind of surprised, to be honest with you, given how some of the things went before. But, guys, remember he said, I see her as relationship material? I don't see her as relationship material. Why? Because hooking up on the first date, that tells me a lot. I'm sure tells you a lot too. I thought this was going really well. She told me she had an IUD and did bring condoms, and I'm sure I'm going to get smacked because I did not use condoms at all. Smack! What the fuck is the matter with you? Do you want to screw up a good life that you already have? She can't have been that hot, and even if she was, is it worth it? I'm willing to bet you all the other bimbos you went out with that you described you wore condoms. So it seems to me you're acting completely different around this chick because you see her as relationship material. This is what happens to guys that start seeing or dating a gal they really, really like. They stop being like themselves and they mess up. It's your life, my man. I stayed at her place. We kept having SCX over and over again, and she ended up making us food, and we kept smoking, drinking, and having SCX. We continued this into the next morning, where she made us food again. Then I had to leave because I had plans with my bros. Well, okay. I'm glad you had fun with her, but to me, this chick is nothing but friends with benefits or casual dating, whatever. That's it. This ain't relationship material to me. There are too many things screaming red flags at me already. A few notable topics of conversation. She mentioned that she was recently divorced. She got married to her husband when she was in college and divorced him 3 months after she graduated medical school. How interesting. He probably supported her all during school, medical school, and then when she no longer needed him, goodbye. It sounds like she also makes dumb relationship mistakes getting married so young. And she's divorced at an early age. Remember the whole, I told you she's not relationship material? She also told me she was going through a hoe phase, and she had SCX with 15 men in 9 months. I guess I should have worn the condom after all. Yeah, she's going through a hoe phase. Again, this is the guy who said that she's relationship material. No, bro. I'd be checking to see. I'd be going to a doctor to see if you caught a STI from her. She is nothing but a friends with benefits, dude. That's it. Then she told me she thought I was really great, but she didn't know if she could see me again because she really doesn't like seeing men more than once. She is laying it all out who she is, but yet this guy... I thought that was weird, but I went home and kind of forgot about it. Later the same day, she started texting me like crazy about how she wanted to hang out as soon as possible. Love bombing you, huh? We agreed to meet up again the next weekend. She was working, and I was actually at a conference most of that week. But we stayed in touch, and she kept calling me for help, as again, she is a doctor, and I'm also a doctor. She doesn't need your help. She just wants an excuse to talk to you. Another degree of complexity to the story. While I'm a doctor, I am not an MD, and I am currently contemplating going back to school for my MD. She and I discussed this extensively, and she really backed me up with my plan to become an MD. During the course of the conference, I realized that being a clinical pharmacist was just not for me. It's been a nice career, but it's time for a change. I will be going back to school to get my MD and becoming an anesthesiologist. Great, man. But do that because you want to do it, not because she wants you to do it. She's probably thinking, okay, I got my future husband here. I'm going to push him to be an MD and I can enjoy that lifestyle. Mind you, this is the girl who openly admitted that she's going through a hoe phase. And when she gave me that 15 dudes in 9 months, I'm sure it's probably more like 50 dudes in 9 months. Back to Dr. Nicole. She was really excited to hang out with me again and was texting me all this stuff about things we were going to do. I thought it was pretty weird because a few days before this, she told me she didn't want to see me again, but now she's talking about going on cute dates and traveling together and stuff like that, and I thought that was kind of weird. Shows that she's all over the place emotionally and mentally. Or at first she thought you were just that guy she kicked to the side of the road, but then probably realized, all right, this guy has promise. He'll make a good ex-second husband here, so, I'll pursue this. She also made a bunch of references to taking back to her hometown with her, which I thought was odd because we were only hung out one other time. I guess that first time was about 24 hours long, but still it was pretty early to be talking about stuff like that. You bet your ass. Take you back to her hometown to see her family. You were together once. Remember that, guys. He went on a one date with her to the museum, and then he fed her, went back to her place, smoked weed, and they had a marathon sex for 24 hours. That's the extent of their time together. And the chick admits she has a hoe phase. No, I'm not going back to meet your family or anything like that. Anyway, I went back to my house for the conference and crashed at 2 o'clock in the morning. And I was exhausted. She'd been working in the intensive care unit overnight from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. And she drove up to my house and knocked on my door at 9 a.m. This girl literally did not sleep, and she just drove to my house because she wanted to hook up that badly. This certainly makes me think twice when I'm going to the hospital or the emergency room or dealing with any medical professionals. Really, these stories really make me look at the female doctors completely and nurses and all that completely in a different way nowadays. I guess I'm pretty good at hooking up. She makes it number 35. Anyway, she showed up my house with at least 10 bags full of kitchen supplies, food, and luggage. It was really bizarre because we were only going to hang out for a day or two before we had to go. Also worth mentioning, we live about an hour away from each other. She shows up to your place unannounced, uninvited with food. I'm okay with the food part, but with her luggage, what the fuck? But remember, this is the guy that she ignored in the beginning when he was texting her, and he kept bombarding her with texts. So that told her he really likes me, and I can pull bullshit. She worked hard on her hair and makeup, and it was very apparent that she was really excited to see me. We must have had SEX 10 times that day. I think that was a new record. We had a really fun day together. We went into the pool at my apartment complex, and we drove around my convertible. She was very insistent about wanting to go somewhere for ice cream, so I took her to the most unique, bourgeois place I could find. Have you ever spent $40 getting 2 people ice cream? I thought she was worth it. Smack! $40 for 2 fucking ice cream cones? Dude, what the fuck? Guess what? You can go down to McDonald's and probably for a couple bucks get a cone, and it's good vanilla or chocolate or whatever. $40? What's in that stuff? Did you get a fucking 24-hour hard-on by eating that ice cream? Were you high? Were you seeing unicorns or something like that eating that ice cream? Are you kidding me? $40 for 2 cones? I mean, I get we have food inflation, but not that bad yet. Honest to God. All trying to impress her, and it shows me that she then wants you to spend money on her. So we went back to my place, and she offered to make me dinner and a meal prep for me. I was really impressed by this because she worked 60 hours last week at the ICU, and she was so excited to cook me dinner and a meal prep for me. She is working you, dude. You are her future ex-second husband. She saw that in you instantly. I thought things were going really well at this point. As we were eating, she dropped a bomb on me. Oh, do tell. She says, so, how would you feel at making this exclusive? My jaw dropped. I'd been drinking and smoking at that point, and I was shocked that she would say this. It was 7 days prior to this that she told me she didn't know she could see me again, but because of the hoe phase. Yeah, she's locking you down. And I'm convinced because you're obviously, you're not an MD, but you're a doctor, and she wants you to, And by the way, guys, I want to point this out. She's smoking weed and all these things, and she's a doctor, and she takes care of people. I know people have different opinions about marijuana, but still. She progressed to begging me to be in a relationship with her, and I was really shocked. Dude, she's psycho. You went out one fucking date and hooked up. And now she's back at your place showing up and she wants to be exclusive with you? Oh, you had your ice cream date. It's date number 2. Exclusive, begging you. She's nuts. It seemed out of character for her to act this way, but I really liked her, so I played along. Smack. You didn't like her. You loved the attention she was giving you. You felt like the king. Not to mention, I'm sure you were loving all the sex. I asked her about her phone password because that was an issue with the last girl I dated, and she happily hands it over to me and showed me the guy she was talking to on her phone. She apologized profusely for having other guys on her phone, and she started messaging them to tell them that she was in a relationship. Please. If she's hooked up what she claims 15 dudes in 9 months, which I'm convinced is probably more like 50 dudes in 9 months, in her hoe phase, you think she's going to switch it off like that? And remember, this other girl's been divorced, got married in college, shows she's reckless and irresponsible, dumped her husband after she got out of medical school, which told me she probably used him for money, and you're taking her $40 ice cream? This is bad. One thing that was kind of weird, one of the guys she was talking to she just told she wanted to have rough sex with him just 2 days before this. Bro, all the signs are right there. I don't know what you're thinking. I questioned this, and her explanation was that she wasn't in a relationship at that point. Also texted this other guy she was dating, who apparently a mobster, and she was very adamant that this was a big deal because she really wanted to be in a relationship with a mobster. Okay, get out. Get out, get out, get out. Anyway, it looked like things were going to work out. What do you mean things are going to work out? I was really happy with the situation. I thought it was going to be great. Smack! Are you out of your mind? Bro, at this point, every bit of crazy shit that comes your path, you brought on yourself. You know better. You know darn fucking well you know better. So the whole week, she was really trying to get in touch with me. We live about an hour away. But I was going to go see her a week later. She kept asking me to call her, including asking me to get up early to call her. No, I'm not going to get up early and disrupt my sleep to call you. She was texting me more than usual. She seemed really excited. She's love bombing you. She was calling me from work to ask me questions about work and just to chat with me. I did have one slip up on here. I got nasty with her over text, and that was my fault. However, the next morning, I addressed it and apologized. I can't help but wonder if that contributed to what happened the following week, or if it was inevitable. I don't think snapping or losing your temper one text is going to set off what I know sets off here. But bro, she is unstable. And she's a doctor, and she takes care of people. That's the scariest part about this whole thing. The following weekend, she was pushing me to come over sooner, even though she had to go to work. I gave in and went to see her on Saturday. We had SCX, which is good, and then I ordered us dinner. However, things started to go downhill from here. We were eating dinner, and she got extremely combative with me for no clear reason. She was yelling about something having to do with medicine. I don't remember exactly what it was, but it was weird how pissed off and angry she was, and we were just eating. We were eating Thai food, and she had to go to work. I thought this was really bizarre, especially the level of anger she had. Bro, she's a wacko. She's demonstrated that through her actions countless times. I don't need to go into everything all over again, you know, and the audience knows here. But you love the attention, you love the crazy, and you love the pussy, okay? You know, hot crazy scale, that's what we're having here, okay? And yes, the crazy ones generally are much more fun in bed, but it ain't worth it. She left for work, and I was very taken aback by this. However, I was in the same city where a lot of my buddies live, so I just went out to dinner with someone and we had fun. Hey, you went out and hung out with your bros, no problem there. So I wanted to make a good on everything with the girl, so I offered to bring her dinner at work. So you're rewarding her psychotic behavior. You get together, she acts psycho with you about medicine or something stupid like that, and then you're going to go bring her food at work, showing her that she can act like a psycho and it's okay and you're going to reward her. Really? Smack! I brought her dinner, and then she apologized for her behavior and promised she was going to do better. The next morning, she came up from work, more SEX, more good. Then we both slept because she had worked overnight. We got back up and had a bunch of stuff planned for the day, like going to a museum and this fancy restaurant. We were driving to breakfast at a coffee shop, and she started getting really nasty with me again over what seemed like minor things. Bro, I don't feel bad for you at all. You brought this on yourself. She's showed who she is. She just got really belligerent again and seems to be having this outburst out of nowhere. This was the second time this happened. I was taken very aback because this is becoming a pattern. I was unsettled and tried to de-escalate. At one point, over the breakfast, she tried to start shit with me again, and I told her that I wasn't having it and to stop. This actually seemed to work fairly well. The rest of the day was mostly without incident, but I was feeling very uneasy about everything that had just happened. Yeah, she probably is just borderline. I mean, this chick is nuts. And I think also she loves drama. Remember, this is the girl that was dating hooking up with a mobster, and wanted to hook up with a mobster. She probably had a giant list of like different types of dudes to hook up with. She's mental. The next morning, she woke me up and made breakfast and apologized as she had to work and went to work. Now of note, the medical school at which I'm an adjunct professor is much closer to her house than mine. So when she asked me to stay at her house as much as possible, her words, it seemed like a win-win situation. So a few days later, I drove down to her place to stay there before I taught at the medical school. When I got there, I met a different person than I thought she was. She very suddenly did not want to have SCX. Very odd for her. She also was extremely combative in general. She refused to have SCX and or blow me, and I told her I was very unhappy with this. God damn it, woman. I came over here and you're going to blow me, damn it. Bro, she's nuts. None of us are surprised at her behavior. I did drop it because after an hour of arguing, it wasn't worth it anymore, but over dinner, she started arguing with me about something unrelated to SCX or anything else, and it was really crazy. I stopped arguing about the thing I wanted, and she was still not happy. We went to bed, and I tried to escalate things with her, and her response was to say, "Don't kiss me, just hook up with me." The most disturbing thing was that she was soaking wet, even more something unusual. It was like the conflict got her turned on. Ah, imagine that. Who would have thought? Guess what? There are a lot of women out there that love drama. Let me rephrase that. All women love drama. But there's the women that like to get it from just like shows and stuff like that, and other ones that love to start the drama. She ropes you in, bro, with the SCX, she love bombs you, and then she starts drama. And the drama is escalating. And you fight, and you make up, and right here. Yeah, that's probably what's going on. And remember in the beginning, guys, he said this girl could be relationship material? The next day, I went to teach my class, and I got back to her place before she did. My job is complicated, but basically about 25% of it is remote, and about 75% is on-site at different job sites. I was just sitting there working. She came home from work and was talking about ordering dinner. Then I told her I wanted to hook up. She got really agitated and told me that we were breaking up and I needed to get out of her house. Just like that. Shocker. She's unstable. She's a wacko. My jaw hit the floor. This girl was begging me to be in a relationship just 2 weeks ago and begging me to come over and stay with her 1 week ago, and now she's breaking up with me and throwing me out of her house. Yes, because she's either off her meds or on too many meds. She's a wacko. And yes, women can certainly one day feel, I want to emphasize the feel part, feel they're in love with a guy, and later the next day something can happen and feel they hate his guts. Yes, it's all about how they feel. But still, she's nuts. I'm not surprised. He says, this girl is a doctor. You would think she'd be stable and logical, but she is neither of those things. Man, this was almost a month ago, and I'm still perturbed. I'm back out in the apps and at the bars working on getting some new girls, but I'm still really shaken about this one. I seem to have a lot of trouble when I really like a girl. I'm pretty comfortable with maintaining frame with a girl I'm not interested with, but when it's a girl I'm really interested in, I struggle. Bro, well, you fucked up royally in this story, but let me tell you, you're like most guys. It's easy to be the guy you want to be, if you will, to hold frame, that type of thing, with the gals you're not interested in. The ones that are just, they could be several hundred pounds or butt ugly or just so goddamn annoying. You get the point. But the really attractive women that you really want to hook up with, yeah, a lot of guys completely change their personality. Or maybe one could argue their personality really comes out. Who knows? But you got work to do. It's thank you for your help, SSM. The work you're doing is truly life-changing. You have my highest admiration and my highest respect. Well, bro, that was quite an interesting story. So you need work. You really need to learn how to behave the same around all gals. And that ain't easy. That takes a whole lot of effort, guys. All right? And I'm sure even the best guys out there, when they see a smoking hot chick, they're much more inclined to be a little more, accommodating, or it can be just displaying their own body language, how they are with them or how they talk. But the point is, you saw from the get-go, he thought, oh, she's relationship material. And he started acting differently around her. And she knew this. But also, she's nuts. So guys, the hot crazy scale, dead on. And yes, you can have these crazy ones that are great in bed and they're freaky and all that, but let's be honest here, sex is a small part of the relationship if you get in one, and so you have to be doing everything else. And was it worth it? No. So you should have cut her off a long time ago. You can't turn an HOE into a housewife, and she's definitely an HOE. Hell, she admitted she was going through the hoe phase. So there you go. This just still leaves me more disturbed about the whole medical profession. And I really want to know, bro. I'm going to email you and tell me where she practices medicine so I don't ever have to go to that place. Okay, because good God. But we all know the stories about the gals in the medical profession. God almighty. So I hope you learn from your mistakes. Don't get involved with the crazies, no matter how hot they are. You can't turn an HO into a housewife, blah, blah, blah. All right, guys, that's it for today. Be sure to comment down below. Let this guy know what you think. And be sure to like the video, share with your friends, and subscribe. I'll catch you next time.